In League of Legends, there are many effects which restrict your character in some way. These are known as crowd control effects, or CC in short. In fact, depending on your definition, there are 25 CC abilities, and here's what they all do. Firstly, we have Airborne Effects, which include knock-ups, knock-asides, knockbacks, and pulls. Basically, any time the enemy makes you go somewhere. When airborne, you can't move, attack, use abilities, items, or summon spells. Also, this is one of the few CC effects which ignore tenacity. Next, we have Blind, which will make all your basic attacks miss, dealing no damage for the duration. Following this, we have Cripple. A crippled unit has reduced attack speed. Next, we have Disarm. This will make the unit unable to make basic attacks. Following this, we have Disrupt. This will stop any abilities which are currently being channeled or charged. Next, we have the forced action category with Berserk, Charm, Fear, and Taunt effects. Starting with Berserk, if you're made Berserk, you start attacking nearby units, prioritizing allies. Secondly, we have Charm. When a unit is charmed, they will walk towards the source and are slowed for the duration. Next, we have Fear, which is similar to Charm, but instead they walk away from the source and are slowed. And finally, we have Taunt. When a unit is taunted, they will be forced to basic attack the source. The next CC is a Grounding effect. A grounded unit is unable to use any movement spells for the duration, including flash or dashes. Next up, we have Kinematics. This is unique to Rel. Units affected are pulled to her, but it doesn't affect any other abilities. Following this, we have Knockdown effects. These are abilities which will interrupt dashes and airborne effects. For example, if Tristana is mid-jump and gets hit by this effect, she immediately stops. You can see this on Vigar Cage, Amumu Ult, and others. Next, we have Nearsight. Champions affected by this have their sight radius reduced. Champions with this ability include Quinn, who reduces your sight to 350 units, Graves, who reduces it to 250, and Nocturne, who reduces it to 1050 units. Nearsight effects are also unaffected by tenacity. Following this, we have Silence effects. A unit affected with the Silence is unable to cast abilities, activate items, or use flash and teleport. Also, Lulu's Polymorph counts as a Silence ability, but will also disarm the opponent and turn them into a little forest animal. Next, we have Drowsy and Sleep. Any unit who is drowsy will soon fall asleep, and a sleep unit cannot control their movement, attack, use abilities, use items, or flash or teleport. At the moment, only Lily and Zoe have this, but the CC effect is also unaffected by tenacity. Following this, we have one of the main ones, which is Slow. A unit that is slowed has their movement speed reduced. However, you can't be slowed lower than 110 movement speed except in a couple of unique situations. For reference, this is about a third of your basic champion's starting movement speed. A huge amount of champions in the game have access to slows. The duration of the slow is affected by tenacity, and the strength of the slow is reduced by slow resist, which is its own stat altogether. Next, we have Snares and Roots, which do the same thing. A unit affected is unable to control its movement or use mobility spells for the duration. However, they can still basic attack, and they can still be forced to move. Following this, we have Stasis effects. An affected unit cannot control their movement, attack, use abilities, use items, or use any summoner spells, but do become invulnerable and untargetable. Next, we have Stuns. A stunned unit cannot control their movement, attack, use abilities, use items, or use flash or teleport. Following this, we have Suspensions, which basically apply the stun and airborne effect at the same time. This is unique only to Nami's Q. And finally, we have Suppressions. A unit affected cannot control their movement, attack, use abilities, use items, or any summoner spell. This CC effect is also unaffected by tenacity.